New York Swim Week 2025. This event far exceeded any expectations I had. It was different. It was unique. And here's why. Right off, before I forget to mention this, towards the end of the runway show, the runway part, they actually had a contest for people to in the crowd to come on the runway and strut their stuff and see if they have what it takes to walk a runway, and it was judged by audience cheers and applause. Granted, I've only done about, I think, 6, maybe possibly 8 tops shows for Fashion Week, but I've never seen or heard anything like that, and that really hit to the heart of what I look for in the majority of the events, outside of obviously art exhibit openings, but where, and this is one of the things I put in the preview article, is there an immersive factor? Is there an interactive factor? Or is it, okay, here's the runway, here's the crowd, here's the wall in between. New York Fashion Week 2025, there was no wall in between. There was no disconnect. I mean, obviously they couldn't have the runway like right where the crowd was because it actually extended out into the one pool. Kind of difficult on that. But they did, the overall feel and vibe to it was, hey, it was very social. It was very laid back. It wasn't a high-end, celebrity attended, which are great. You need that. A celebrity attended, huge disconnect factor. Everything was very well connected, and the crowd was a part of it. Now, if you see, I do have to say this: I did not have a press badge for it. I'm not going to go into the reasons why. It had nothing to do with Fire City. It was just more budgetary, shall we say. But I still wanted to, I paid somewhere between $55 and $60 for, I have the exact number in the print art in the type version, for the general admission. So it's like, all right, I'll sneak in a couple of crowd photos. Hopefully I don't piss them off. But obviously the people that were seated, and when the runway was going on, a majority of the attention was there. But with 2 pools on that deck, there were still people hanging back. There were still people not really paying attention to the runway, but just talking, socializing. I met a lot of great new people, and had some excellent, just laid back, friendly conversations. It was basically everybody who was there. Yes, they were there for the models, the designers, to see what was new coming out, how they evolved. Simple concepts like a one-piece swimsuit for women. Guys, it's like even more basic, where you have basically shorts for swim trunks, a bikini. And I was able to, through the crowd, see when I went up to the back of the crowd, I was able to see the incredible ways that the designers evolved the basic, simple concepts of swimwear. I'm sorry, 2 pieces, 2 piece, and 1 piece is a 1 piece. But more importantly than that, it was after the show, they're like, yeah, we got the after party. Unfortunately, I didn't get a hotel room and couldn't stick around for that. Next year. But you had the models out in the crowd talking to people. I actually saw a photographer that I'm great with faces, terrible with names. I was like, yeah, so you've done Fashion Week events, right? And he goes, yeah, I remember you. So, we had a little bit of conversation. And the weather was perfect for an outdoor event. It wasn't humid, it wasn't too hot. We just had a major heat wave come through. It was just like everybody there supporting the designers, supporting the models in the event, but also just like, kick back, enjoy a gorgeous summer evening. And that, whenever I go to an event, the event itself, and I actually talked to a couple people I try to talk to people who are other attendees to see what they think of it. And the overall feedback was positive, to say the least. And again, they were like, I said, yeah, told them my vibe on it. And they're like, yeah, you're right. That it's just a nice social, everybody there is socialized, like I said, meet new people, and just enjoy a summer evening and forget about their life in the world outside of the event. And New York Swim Week pulled that off perfectly. It was more than a fashion, so much more than a fashion show. It was a chance. The overall event was a success, was, in my opinion, a huge success. I attended the evening shows. It took me, even after I got to New York, I'm like, which one do I want to do? Which one do I want, how do I want to do this? And just, again, due to budgetary constraints, I just went for the general admission. But it's already on my list for next year, my top priority list for 2026. I can't wait to see how they evolve it from this year. New York Swim Week 2026. Look them up on New York Swim Week up on Instagram. Pay attention to posts. Obviously, next year start paying attention to posts in the spring. And this is one event. Was it worth the general admission price I paid for it? Easily. I'm, thinking back, I'm like, man, I should have supported them more and went for the, over $100 VIP and just figured it out from there. But I'm really glad that I paid the admission price, and I'm really glad that I was at that event. I was easily able to just forget about Pennsylvania, period. My life outside of Fire City. In fact, a couple times I was there, I'm like, watch the crowd, look for this, look for that. And I just kind of was able to escape everything and just have a great time. And like I said, I dropped my own cash on this one. So, Michael Phoenix, founder, staff, Fire City Illusion. New York Swim Week 2025, cannot wait for it's on my short list of events I cannot wait for 2026. To your family and friends, as always, please continue to stay safe. Wishing you only the best and much success in your lives.